Don't forget to subscribe.
What a beautiful pool. Nightclub up the top there, beautiful view. I managed to have a few seconds by myself here, so I thought I'd pump out a quick little video to talk about something that had happened to one of my students recently, where he only reported it to me after the fact. He was doing cold approach and he, you know, obviously going through the motions, meeting girls, getting numbers, texting them. And what happened with one of the numbers was this girl started talking to him slightly in a sexual way, and he ran with it. They started talking about sleeping together and what they're going to do to each other, and she was somewhat through the text thread initiating a lot of this kind of sexualization through the texting and overly sexualizing it. And he comes to me and shows me this text thread, and I was like, oh my god, she's manipulating you. This is how women manipulate you. Now, I know some other coaches out there that teach cold approach who are pretty boys, don't really have any game. They're only really getting laid based on their mate value. They're basically black pill guys that go direct and they don't really know what they're talking about. They go, you should sexualize, you should choke women, you should do all this stuff and DHV and all this other bullshit. The issue with this is that overtly sexual women use their sexuality and talk sexually with you to manipulate you. They don't do it because they're like super horny, they want to talk about that. That's just not how the female mind works. They don't do that unless they're trying to manipulate you. Like, I get it if you're in a relationship with a girl, you know, you've been dating her for a while, you've been sleeping together a long time, you talk about this, you initiate this, and you know, it's part of like your routine, sure. But in the early stages of meeting a girl, if she says sexual things to you, and I know what you're probably thinking, this is, you know, Western women are like that, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Especially in the early stages. If she is sexualizing through text, she's we're not going to talk about really escalation on dates and out in public displays of affection, making out too much with girls in the clubs, etc. Because I think a lot of you guys that are actually taking action and making out with a lot of girls in the clubs and getting sexual, you're going to learn the hard way that sometimes she makes out with you, that's all she wanted, and that's it, and then you're not pulling, you're not getting anything else. And it's quite often a better idea to pull back a little bit and don't escalate too much until you've actually pulled, right? Because if you escalate too much out in public, obviously, well, she might just, that might be as much of what she wanted for that day. And most of you guys, you want to go all the way. And a lot of women are satisfied with just making out in the nightclubs. But anyway, if you are overtly sexualizing and you are punching up, keep in mind, if you're getting girls that are more attractive than you, so therefore you're actually using game, you're not just using pretty boy approaches a girl beneath his mate value, gets laid. Unless you're doing that, sure, no problems. You're punching down. You're not really doing game at that stage, so you don't really know what you're talking about. But if you're punching up and you're sexualizing through the text messages, you've done a cold approach on a girl that is above your mate value, and you know, you're in the game now, you're texting away, and it becomes a little bit sexual, and she initiates it, or you start it, and then she just runs with it, there's a very good chance, and I'm not saying that that is all of the case. You know, sometimes you're going to come across a girl who's going to be extremely sexual, but quite often that's after you sleep with her at least. But in the early stages, if she's being sexual before you've even slept with her, and you're not in any sort of a little bit of a relationship, then, and she's sexualizing, she's doing that to manipulate you or to play games with you. Some women just do that to see how far they can push you and play games with your mind. It's fun to some women. Well, anyway, so I saw this text thread and they were getting overtly sexual. She was saying, oh, I need you to come around to my place, and they organized the date and all this stuff. The thread was way too sexual. And then he turns up at her place and it was the wrong address. She played him. She made him turn up to the wrong place. She just was pulling his strings and playing him like a puppet, overly sexualizing. And afterwards she texted him and goes, look, don't treat women, basically in a little bit more of a sly, you know, way. She basically was saying don't treat women like objects. And I could tell that this was going to happen because it was too overtly sexual. She was above his mate value. She was around 10 years younger than him, relatively attractive, a little bit more attractive than him, I would say. And so if you are punching up, you have to build rapport. It has to be some sort of an emotional connection. You have to get her on more of an emotional way, more than a sexual way. If you're punching down, sure. If you're a super good looking dude and you're an 8 and you're getting 5s, do whatever you want, because they just like you because you're way more attractive than them. They're just happy to have you. You're going to get away with a lot more. You can pick your nose on the date. You can probably chew with your mouth open. You could probably throw up on the table. She'll still go home with you. But if you're actually using game and you're punching up, then you can't use anything sexual to build any sort of connection with her. It has to be an emotional connection with her. That's basically the lesson I'm talking about today. And I think that it's something that I have seen quite a lot, guys seeing the false flags, like seeing the false signs that she's attracted. It's even in the cold approach as well. A lot of guys, they will spike. She starts giggling. They think that that's a sign that she's attracted, when it's not necessarily. It's not always. And they see these false signs. But keep in mind, there's a lot of malevolent women out there that will play games with you. They will manipulate you. And if she's initiating some sort of a sexual conversation, be mindful of that. Recently I had a girl that I slept with, and she was like, I want you to F me, I want you to do this to me. I was like, stop it. Because I didn't, whether she was trying to play with me in that moment, I know that she's way above my mate value. She's about 20 years younger than me, and that can then turn into manipulation of me in the future, whether it is happening right now, it might happen in the future. So that's kind of my thoughts for today. Be mindful of that, and hopefully that's been helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.